Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is Modernize the Dynamics 365 Commerce in-store technology using the new Store Commerce app. My name is Peggy, and I'll be your moderator today. We're broadcasting this session through Teams live events, and the audio can be heard through your device speakers. This session is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. When you join this event, your name, email address, and/or phone number may be viewable by other session participants in the attendee list. By joining, you're agreeing to this experience. The recording will be available on the Tech Talks Community Dynamics page within 5 business days. If you have questions for the presenters or need support, please use the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. Our presenters will be responding to your questions throughout today's presentation. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have Mugunthan Mani, Senior Program Manager. Mugunthan, over to you.
Thanks, Becky. Hey, hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the new Store Commerce app we released in the 10.25 release. Yeah, with that I will get started. Okay. So the agenda for today's session is going to be we'll start with the Store Commerce app overview. Okay. Then we'll go over some of the key benefits or highlights of the app, what is the reason for this new evolution of this new app. We'll talk about some of the key benefits of this app. Then we'll talk about some of the deployment options of the Store Commerce app supports, because this Store Commerce app supports both the flavors of modern point of sale and cloud point of sale. So we'll go over that topology options, like how you can deploy it for online or the remote content. We'll show that details. Okay. Then later Luke will demo the new Store Commerce apps. He will show how you can set up the app and do some local hardware station scenario. Okay. Then after the demo, we'll talk about how you can migrate our existing modern point of sale or cloud point of sale to the new Store Commerce app. So we'll provide a quick overview of the steps, because previously we did some tech talks on the deep on how you to migrate your SDK and solution to the new Commerce SDK. Basically, that will help you to understand how you can migrate to the new Store Commerce. Then we'll end up with a high-level roadmap of what's coming next, and we'll answer any Q&A questions. Yeah. Okay. With that, I will get started. Okay. So the first point on the overview is this app is next generation of the existing point of sale. We have the modern point of sale and cloud point of sale. Okay. So from the app, the UX and everything remains the same, but from the technology wise or from the benefits or the seamless upgrade experience, so those ways we add a lot of new features to improve the app, so that it address some of the key gaps what you have seen in the old and modern point of sale or the cloud point of sale. Okay. So this, again, to say this app is available starting the 10.25 release. So if you go to LCS, and you can now be able to download the app and release it. Yeah. Okay. And one of the key benefit, the previous preview version, what we released in the store, it doesn't support offline, but now the GA version supports offline, including the local hardware station support. And the last point I want to highlight is the app is again the same code base what we have on the modern point of sale, the existing TypeScript, HTML. Okay. But the overall the shell or the framework has been modified to support the new technologies. I will cover this in the detail in the upcoming slides. Okay. But the underlying code base remains the same. So the functionality and the code will be the same, but as I said, the technology is upgraded. We'll cover that in the detail in coming slides. So now I'll talk about some of the key benefits of this app, okay, when compared to the existing modern point of sale or the cloud point of sale. And the first thing we want to talk about is the performance. Okay. So now this app is much more faster than the existing modern point of sale, because of the UWP rendering technologies. It's outdated, little bit outdated. Okay. And then it has some rendering performance issue. But with this new Store Commerce app, so we are using some of the advanced technology to improve the performance, even in some scenarios under our lab testing, we found it's like almost 2x faster than the modern point of sale in many of the UI rendering. Okay. For example, some key scenarios we tested was like the log on scenario on add to cart. It's the performance is much more improved. Okay. As I said, like in some scenarios, it's more than like 2x, even in sometimes in scenarios, like it's a little bit more faster than the, like more than like 2x on when compared to the modern point of sale. So when you start using this app, you'll see like the significant performance improvement. And this with our new CSU core, based on the ASP.NET core, gonna give you like much more better performance regarding your API calls or the UI rendering. Yeah. Okay. Then the second key benefit we wanna talk about with this new app is the seamless update experience. Okay. So previous version of the app, so whenever there is upgrade and if you have customization, you always need to package it together. So in the sense, like every time to take an upgrade, you need to involve a dev persona to take the SD, your customization and our new SDK, and then merge it and create a new package and install it again. Right? So that causes like a lot of additional overhead. So now with the new version, you can independently install the core app as well as the extension. So for example, if you have a customization, you can create a separate extension installer and then install it. So you don't have to like combine it with the core app. So if there is a core app update, say for example, 10.26, we released a new update, you can just take that updated installer and run it. So you don't have to like merge or involve any dev persona. So your IT team can just push the rollout using mass deployment or any other deployment option you have chosen. You can deploy the update. So there is no need of like a dev persona involved. Okay. And second other main advantage is like if there is multiple ISV extensions, you're working with different ISVs and you got like solution from them, then again, all those can be independently installed. And this new store commerce app in the client side, it can even support multiple extensions. So you don't have to merge any of the extensions. So all can be installed independently. Think it as more like if you go to Microsoft Edge browser where you add like multiple add-ins and maintain it like independently, right? You can install, uninstall the add-ins separately. So the same experience now our store commerce app also support. So you can independently manage multiple extensions. Yeah. Okay. And again, this app now supports like a different kinds of topology to suit all different customer requirements. So based on the few years, like we got like multiple feedback on our customer, hey, we want online or we want the hybrid mode. So now this same store commerce app supports both options. So I will show that in the deployment topology. Then the last thing I want to talk about is the technology and the dev experience update. Okay. So you can ask like how you are getting like 2x faster and what makes this app better than the modern point of sale, right? So we are using some of the new Windows technology, like we are using WebView 2 to render the entire app. So which gives like much more performance improvement. It's used in the backend. Okay. It uses the new technologies of Windows to render the app, which gives like much more better rendering performance. Okay. And also the framework is updated to support like the upcoming Windows changes so that in the future, if you want to like uptake any of the new changes coming from the Windows framework or the APIs, we should be able to easily uptake it. So which give you like much more better performance, reliability. Okay. So with all those new technology upgrade, you can also say why we upgraded. The previous UWP technology is like outdated in the sense like Windows not investing more on that, okay, which kind of like prevented us from evolving faster. Now with this technology upgrade, we can like easily evolve with what are the new upcoming changes coming in the Windows. Okay, that's on the technology side, on the basically on the framework side. Then on the dev experience, okay, so previously you need to install like the full Visual Studio to develop any customization for the app. Okay. Now with the new store commerce app, it even supports Visual Studio 2019 or 2022. Even you don't need Visual Studio. So now the extension even can be just developed using VS Code. So I think soon we're going to publish a doc on that to say like how you can do your development and debugging with VS Code, and all the samples and required packages for the customization. It will be available in a public repository, and you can consume NuGet or any other the packaging manager you have. And all the samples, as I said, like gonna be available on the GitHub. In the older version, to customize modern point of sale, you need to use the retail SDK, which is available only in LCS. So you need to like deploy a update, and that's gonna take few hours. Right? Now with the new model, you can just go to like the public feed and get the updates in like few seconds. So just you can click the drop down and you can select whichever version you want. So you don't have to go to LCS to try the new version or even to like update your extensions. It's much more streamlined with the .NET development world. Yeah. Okay. Those are some of the key benefits, like why we kind of like came up with this new app. So the main three reason if I put, it's like one, performance. Okay. So now it's going to have a much more like 2x better than modern point few scenarios. And second, give you like better update experience, because this is like the one you do every monthly, right? So if you want to make sure this experience is as seamless as possible, so it should almost like now it should reduce your dev effort like almost to minimum. You should not need to involve your dev persona, okay, for any upgrade scenarios. And even your extension should continue to work unless you want to update your extension. You don't need to like involve a dev persona. So it should like reduce your dev person involvement from like whatever previous like version, if your extension from 100 to like 0 to minimum. Yeah. And third, better dev experience, right? Because I know like most of our customer partner customize the product. So we want to give you like much more better experience in the development. Those are like some few main reasons like why we did the upgrade. Yeah. With that benefits, now I'll get into the deployment topology. Okay. So there is two main concept here I want to explain. Okay. One is that we call it as the in-app. On my left side, you see the in-app experience. Okay. So I will talk about first what is in-app, and then I will talk about the hybrid. Okay. So if you see in the initial slide, we have put it like the new store commerce app, like it's a brings the both modern POS features of both modern point of sale and CPOS, right? The main difference between modern point of sale and the cloud point of sale is like modern point of sale supports offline and local hardware station. Okay. Cloud point of sale doesn't support local hardware station, and it doesn't support the offline, right? But it gives you the other benefits of your like seamless deployment experience. You can just open a browser and run it. And the other main advantage is like, hey, if you want to update like from a central location instead of managing different tools, like instead of going to the individual register and updating it from a central location, you want to update and then push it to all the stores, it can be done, right? Because you're going to update it from the cloud scale unit. Okay. So both as like pros and cons. Now with the store commerce app, we are bringing both those benefits to you. So in the sense, for example, if you prefer like, hey, I want like more like a modern point of sale experience where you want to install the app locally and manage it, and I want support offline, then you can use the in-app mode. With this in-app mode, is like during installation, you want to pass a parameter saying like, hey, by default, it's an in-app mode, so you don't have to pass any additional parameter. And if you want to install offline, you will pass few certain additional parameters. Okay. But so this will give you like exactly similar to the modern point of sale experience where everything managed locally. So whenever you want to now update the app, you will take the next version of the installer and run it. Okay. So this in-app mode supports offline local hardware station, same feature of the for existing modern point of sale. Okay. So it's much more very similar to what like the modern point of sale. Okay. Now the new one where some customer feel like, hey, I want more like the cloud point of sale experience where I want to manage the updates centrally. Then you can also use the same store commerce app and deploy the hybrid mode. So the hybrid mode is more like the app acts as a shell, and it renders the cloud point of sale from the CSU. Okay. Basically, like whenever you want to now update the cloud point, like the store commerce app, you will update the cloud point of sale in the CSU. That's the two main like the modes we have in the deployment. One is the in-app, very similar to MPOS. You install everything locally, supports offline, and all the updates managed at the individual register level. We can still use some mass deployment tools and others to manage the update. Okay. But everything is like managed locally. In this hybrid one, where you deploy the app in hybrid mode, okay, there's again to deploy the hybrid app. It's if you even use our iOS and Android, it is much more very similar. It's like a shell where you're going to give the cloud point of sale URL, right? So it's going to now render everything from the hosted CSU to the app. And to install this one, again, you're going to pass like a different parameter, say like install hybrid mode. Okay. So what it does is like it deploys two components. One, your store commerce app where you install, think it is more like a shell, and then it's going to use your CSC. Okay. And even this version supports a local hardware station. One big difference is the cloud point of sale previously doesn't support the local hardware station. Right now, the store commerce app also support like local hardware station, which is like a big benefit. Yeah. Okay. Then the second thing is like now if you want to update from centrally, hey, I don't want to like update individual tills, then you can just go ahead and your update your CPOS. And the shell you're going to install, even this app will be like both backward and forward compatible. Okay. The shell you're going to install, you can update based on our update policy, but the shell will not have like major changes. It will just think it is more like a shell, which will have like very minimal changes with every update. So it will reduce your testing and other effort. But to manage the core app updates, you can centrally do it from the CSU. So all stores will get the update. Even you can mix and match. Say, for example, if I have like a store with 10 registers, in one register I want offline, and all the other register I want the hybrid experience, and you can do it. So that even suppose if you want to, before pushing updates centrally to all your register and store, one register alone you want to like test it and see if all looks good. So you can only for that register, you can install the in-app mode. But if you can decide like, hey, I want offline and I want to manage the register individually, or I want to like do everything from a central location. So based on your topology, you can choose between the in-app experience versus the hybrid. Yeah. The main advantage is like in-app supports the offline. I think rest all functionality is the same, and it gives you the benefits of both like in managing locally or like you want to manage centrally based on the update. So it gives the both options. Previously, this was done only using modern point of sale, and the right side was done using CPOS. Now the store commerce like gives you the benefit of both, so you can choose based on your topology model. Yeah. So this is something new we added in the store commerce app in the GA version. Yeah. With that, I will move on to the next slide. I know like if you have some question, if it's not clear, please post your question in the chat window. We'll try to answer it. Yeah. Okay. So you can ask like, hey, what will be the UX experience for the store commerce app? Say if I want to do the hybrid, how it will know like, hey, which cloud point of sale to connect, or like what kind of parameter I need to pass, right? So you can, for example, to install the hybrid mode, you will pass this parameter like use remote app content. Basically, it's going to download the app content from the remote location with your CSU. That's where this additional parameter you want to pass. And then as soon as once you open the first time the app, it's going to ask for you the cloud point of sale URL. So then rest all the step going to be the same, like activation of the existing modern point of sale or CPOS. It will go through the activation flow and you can use the app. Okay. But suppose if you didn't install the remote app content, then it's directly going to ask for your retail server, because all the CPOS content is deployed locally, like in-app, similar to MPOS. For example, if you now install MPOS, it's not going to ask you for any CPOS URL, right? Because all the contents are packaged locally. Okay. But if you install our iOS, Android app, it's going to ask for you the CPOS URL, right? So the similar experience. So if you use the remote content, it's going to ask for CPOS URL. But if you use the in-app experience, it will not ask for the CPOS URL, because everything, as I said, like packaged locally. That's a UX difference you will see between the in-app versus the hybrid mode. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I will hand it over to Luke, who's going to show the demo of the store commerce app. Yeah. Back to you, Luke.
Thanks, Mugunthan. I am going to showcase today the scenarios for the in-app version of store commerce, starting with how to install the app from LCS. So we'll go ahead and we'll start by going to the shared asset library. And this is going to be the same place where we download all of the rest of the on-premise installers for commerce as a whole. So we can see in here all of the different versions and the different installers. And here's the one for store commerce. So in the interest of time, I've already downloaded the Store Commerce installer and installed it, but we can see here, it's just a simple PowerShell command line to install the Store Commerce app using just the install command. And by default, if we don't specify, this will install the in-app version of Store Commerce, which is providing the same functionality as Modern POS does today. So I've already installed the main package for Store Commerce, but what I want to showcase next is how to install the extension packages. And I have two different extension installers here in this folder, so I'll go ahead and run them now. And this is showcasing, as Mugunthan mentioned earlier, the independent servicing between the main app and the extensions, enabling us to update the main package without a developer persona. I'll go ahead and run this one. And we can see that both of the extension packages were installed. So with that, we can go ahead and launch the Store Commerce app. Simply going to the Start menu, and we can see the device that I've already activated with the familiar login experience. In the San Francisco store, we've enabled the AAD login for the cashier. Store Commerce supports single sign-on and has full parity for all the authentication options that we had today in Modern Point of Sale. So we'll go ahead and sign in. Let me grab the account info. And we'll say we just want to sign in to this app only. And we can see, again, it's the same familiar experience on the homepage within Store Commerce, which means there won't be any learning curve for cashiers who are familiar with point of sale to switch over to Store Commerce, as it'll be a very familiar experience with almost no noticeable differences there. So with that, we can jump over and we'll look at the settings page. And here we can see the two extension packages that we just installed are successfully loaded. And if we click on the package, we can see the details of exactly what types of extensions are contained in those extension packages. If there were any errors in loading, this page would also showcase those, and it's a good resource to troubleshoot any issues with loading extensions, or if there's any conflicts with extension packages that are trying to extend the same extension point. All of the extensions developed with the Commerce SDK for point of sale will also work in Store Commerce, so there's no need to change the code or do anything different for Store Commerce versus Modern POS. All of the extensions developed using the sealed model will continue to work there seamlessly. So with that, we can jump back to the home page and talk a little bit about the hardware support using the local hardware station. And so we can see here, I've already enabled the local hardware station and it's paired. I've also launched the peripheral simulator to showcase some of the hardware support that we have within Store Commerce. So if we do a transaction, we can see some of that hardware support in action. So add those items, and we can see that the dual display is updating with the lines that are added. So similar to MPOS, full, rich, dedicated hardware support there with the line display. And now also we can see that with this barcode setup, we can scan a barcode in OPOS mode and see that the line was added. With that, I'll go ahead and complete the transaction. This is one of the extensions that we had configured earlier. I'll go ahead and say, yes, let's print that receipt to the file. And then we can also print the gift receipt. and we can see in the peripheral simulator, here's our gift receipt that was printed successfully. So with that, we can see Store Commerce has the full local hardware support and OPOS support that we have with Modern POS, along with improved reliability of being a desktop app out of the box, where we don't have some of the limitations of the WP packaging that we have with Modern POS. So with that, I'll send it back to Mugunthan, who's going to wrap things up with details about migrating to Store Commerce and our roadmap.
Thank you, Luke. Let me start presenting. Oops. Okay. So next I'm gonna talk about like how you can migrate to the Store Commerce app. So for example, if you're using the modern point of sale or cloud point of sale, and if you wanna migrate to the new Store Commerce app, I'm gonna talk about the high level steps involved in the migration. Okay. The first is the deployment topology. As I talked about, you can choose between the in-app versus hybrid. So in-app gives the, say for example, if you want to, as I talked about before, you want to use offline or the CPOS experience, you can choose between the in-app versus hybrid. Okay. Again, from the functionality wise, both are the same. From the performance wise, both will be the same. Both supports local hardware station. Okay. The main difference is the offline and like how you want your update experience. So if you want to like manage centrally, or you want to manage like update an individual register, or even you can do like a mix and match, some register in in-app mode and some in the hybrid. Okay. Maybe if the in-app term is little new or confusing, think like more it as a existing modern point of sale. Okay, where everything deployed locally and then you can test it, yeah, and use it. Okay. So because previously you would have, I know when we spoke with few customers and partners, they said like, hey, we are using the cloud point of sale because it's kind of like simplifies our update experience, right? So that's why you went with our cloud point of sale. And some customers like, hey, we use modern point of sale because we want that flexibility to run update individually, or we also need like offline and local hardware station support. Now this Store Commerce app supports all those features. So you can decide whether, hey, from previously I used in browser, now I want to go with the Store Commerce. So you can choose based on your choice. Like, hey, or if I want to like the offline, hey, now I need like offline because previously I used CPOS, because even though I need offline, but I want to use only local hardware station, so I chose CPOS, right? Now you can decide like with offline, with local hardware station, you can still use the Store Commerce app. So you can decide accordingly like which topology you want to use. Okay. Then the second step, once you decided with the topology, then the second step is like installing the new app. So you will not be able to do a in-place upgrade in the sense like, hey, for example, previously you installed modern point of sale. Okay. Now you cannot just take this installer and run it like as an update. Instead, you have to like uninstall the previous version of modern point of sale and then install this new app. So going forward, any other new updates from the Store Commerce, you can just like run the installer. It's idempotent. You can run it multiple times. But from the previous version of modern point of sale need to be uninstalled. So if you have like 100 stores with multiple registers, so you can think like how you gonna uninstall the previous version and install this new version of the install the new Store Commerce app. I will not say like it's a new version from MPOS. It's completely like a different installer. So if you have like your own mass deployment scripts to update it, then you can use those scripts to uninstall the modern point of sale and install this new app. And one other important thing you also need to do is like you need to activate the app again, because generally with every update you don't need to activate the app, but first time if you are considering doing with the Store Commerce, then you also need to activate the app again. So your IT team need to be involved and activate the app, or even if your cashier knows how to activate, they have to like activate the app. That's like the two main things you have to consider. So if you're like in the process of migrating to 10, 25 or 26, then you can think like you can use the Store Commerce. The only additional effort you have to consider is the installation and activation again. Okay. Because if you upgrade from MPOS version 25 to 26, you don't need to activate the app, but in this case, you have to again activate the app. So that is like one other additional effort, but it will be like a one-time effort. Yeah. Okay. If you don't have any extensions, then it's like straightforward, or like any ISV solution, then it's like easy migration, uninstall the older MPOS, install this new app. Okay. And because the functionality wise, it's all going to be the same. The hardware station support wise, it's all going to be the same. Offline and everything is the same functionality. So you don't, even your testing effort can be minimized. Only you need to install and activate it. So it will be like easy migration to the new store commerce app. Okay. But if you have customization with the old retail SDK, in order to use the store commerce app with the customization, you need to migrate to the new commerce SDK. So most of the code again written in the retail SDK for the modern point of sale or the cloud point of sale, customization can be reused as much as possible. Okay. Only the template project type and how you're going to create the extension installer has been changed. It should not be like a big effort for you. So for example, if you wrote like the core logic, 80 to almost like I would say like 90 to 95% of the logic, you should be able to just copy paste it. Some of the import statement or like the control name need to be modified, but most of the code logic can be reused. So don't think like this migration gonna be like a big effort. It should not be that much effort involved. So you should be able to do a migration on the SDK. Okay. And then once you migrate, you also need to generate the new installer for the extension. So we have installer package type, project, the NuGet package. You can just like consume that package and say like, yeah, for this extension, create me the installer. Okay. So you can say like, these are my CRT for offline extension, and these are my client extension. And then you can just create a new installer only for your extension component. Okay. Those are like two things you need to consider when you do the migrating from the extension point. Okay. So we did since this session is not like dev persona targeted, so we didn't put like details of how you want to migrate, but we did like 3 or 4 tech talks on this one, step by step on like how to get the new SDK, how to migrate your CRT, how to migrate your POS. So all has been published in our commerce community, Dynamics Commerce community site. You can later, once you get this deck, you can watch those tech talks, which talks about like how you can migrate it. But as I said, like most of the logic can be reused. Okay. That's on the migration. Then if you have any ISV extension, then you also need to work with your ISV. And we already reached out to a few ISVs to start, make sure like they are working on the migration, and we are helping them with the migration, so that as a customer, if you want to like consuming some external ISV solution, hopefully they will be ready with the new store commerce. So you should be able to like get the installer from them and install it. Okay. One big advantage, as I said, is like you don't have to like, suppose you have your own extension, and if the ISV gives like another add-ins or like their extension, you don't have to merge or do anything. Think it as more like a independent installer. You're going to just install and deploy your ISV extension or your extension. So there is no code merge or anything required for the client side. Okay. Again, the main advantage, as I said, like everything going to be like an independent extension. So you can individually like install, uninstall the extension. For example, in CS, you can deploy multiple extensions together. Okay. On the client side, if you are installing it multiple, you can also like do multiple separate installation. First I would have installed ISVs. Then later, whenever your extension is there, you can install it and try it out. Okay. So it supports like independent extensions and installers, and like multiple independent extension and installer. Okay. So there are like some samples published. Even there was a gas station sample. We did it in our old SDK. Then we migrated that to our new commerce SDK and put it in the GitHub. And there are like few other samples. Basically, we did like migration. So you can refer those samples on like how you can create extension and move it to the new model. Yeah. Okay. The next, I want to quickly cover the roadmap, and then we want to give like plenty of time, since we know like this is like a new app, so you'll have a lot of questions. So we want to give like plenty of time for the Q&A. Yeah. Okay. So next high level, I will cover the roadmap. So the app is already available in LCS. Okay. I think I saw a few questions like, hey, the preview was published in the Microsoft Store, but now I cannot like see the app in the Microsoft Store, because now the new version will be only available in LCS. In the future, we may publish to the Microsoft Store, but we kind of changed the strategy to publish it in the LCS, so where you can download the installer. So the app will not be available in the Microsoft Store. And there are a few reasons why we did, because there are some Windows version which doesn't support Microsoft Store, and also there are some technical challenges in supporting offline from the Microsoft Store. That's why we again switched back or changed our strategy to publish in the LCS. And also when we spoke with our few customers and partner for doing mass deployment and other scenarios, it makes much more easier if you have like the individual like a separate installer instead of doing it from the store. That's the like primary reason why we change the strategy. So and most of our customers are using the Windows LBD, so now they can also benefit of the new store commerce app. Yeah. Okay. So the app is available in LCS starting I think March 18th. It's GA, and application release is like 10/25. So if you're HQ and CSU on 10/25, you should be able to use the new store commerce app. Okay. Then I want to put like the quick future roadmap of what's coming next. So the dual displays already work has been completed in 10/27, and we are like testing and validating, and we're gonna release the support for dual display in 10/28. In one, because previously if you can ask like the CPOS doesn't support the dual display, right? Only modern point of sale was supporting it. Now, even though like in the hybrid mode, if you're using CPOS, but still it's gonna support dual display. Okay, that's like one of the like new feature, like supporting dual display in the hybrid mode also. That will be coming in 10/28. Okay. The next other important thing we are working is supporting the store commerce app in iOS and Android. In our older retail SDK, we just like ship the source code for the shell app where you will build and generate the package. Okay? And then if you want to use it in iOS and Android, like you have to create the package, like the APK or like the iOS package, and then install all on your own. Right? But now with the new version, with the improved performance and everything, the new app will be published to the iOS and Android store. We are targeting October to release the app. So if you're iOS and Android user and you want to benefit from the new store commerce app starting October, you should be able to use the new store commerce, download the app from the stores, and then you should be able to use it. Again, since this will be like similar to the hybrid experience, it's not gonna support offline, okay? Because since it's again, if you remember the deployment topology now versus the hybrid, so the iOS and Android will be the hybrid experience, okay, where it will not support offline. But one other big new feature we are having is support for the like the native network hardware. Okay. Previously, the iOS app doesn't support any hardware, like for example, the payment terminals or the printers. So the new version gonna support like the hardware stations, the hardware integration also. That's like one new feature we are adding to the iOS. Our Android app already supports hardware, but now we are extending that support to the iOS also. So if you're using printer or payment terminal, now we should be able to use that with our iOS app also. Okay. Also, the next other important feature we are working on is like migrating all our localization features of like the different localization feature or previously either shipped the samples or like included as part of the core map. So we are working on migrating that sample so that customer who need this localization feature also will be able to migrate to the store commerce. We're actually working on this one. There are like 10 to 12 different localization features. We are working on migration. So unfortunately, I will not be able to share the timeline on that because individual features vary by timeline, but we are actually working on it. Yeah. If you need some localization feature and you want to go live with this new one, please reach out to me or like any of the team member. He will be able to help and provide like high level timeline. Yeah. And one other important thing is like the existing MPOS app will be like deprecated next year, this October 2023. So because we want our customers to get benefit from this new app, as I said, like the performance, seamless update experience, the dev experience, and the technology upgrade. So we want all our customer to benefit from the new experience we are providing from the store commerce app. Yeah. So that's the main reason like why we kind of deprecating the old MPOS. And also, as I said, like there are some technology stop from the for the UWP app. The Windows team is not supporting anymore. So the MPOS will not give you like much better performance. That's other reason like why we are deprecating MPOS. So if you are planning for upgrade, think if you can see if we can migrate to the store commerce, don't wait till for the next year. Okay, try to like upgrade as soon as possible so that you will get all this benefit, because as I said, like the every monthly upgrade effort now should be much more reduced if you migrate to this new store commerce platform. And that's high level on the roadmap. The last slide is the key takeaway. So the app is available starting 10/25. So take it and try it out, and please share us any feedback. If you have any questions on the deployment or any issues related to the store commerce app, you can reach out to us. We'll be definitely happy to help and engage with you to resolve any issues. Yeah. Again, the store commerce app thing from the functionality wise, it's same as the existing modern point of sale and cloud point of sale, but with much more greater performance and improvements. So like again, the stream, it provides the stream like a streamlined upgrade experience. Yeah. The detailed doc has been published, which talks about like here how to set up the app, and what are how the installed parameters, what are the benefits of this apps. All these being published here. And also, like as I said, like for the detailed samples, it's also available. And then for the migration, additional tech talks we publish, so you can go over that. And if you have any question, please reach out to us here. Even in HQ, we added like a new device type like store commerce. So even if you create a new device, you should be able to see that here. So with that, we'll take any questions. We'll also see the question in the chat window and answer it. Go over some of the questions. The remaining questions, we will try to answer it like offline. Yeah.
Sounds good. Mugunthan, I think one of the common questions in the chat is, would it be correct to say that the hybrid solution replaces the current online MPOS, while the in-app replaces the current offline MPOS?
Can you say it again?
Sure. Is it correct to say that the hybrid or hosted solution for store commerce replaces online MPOS, while the in-app replaces the current offline MPOS?
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. You want to add something, look, to that? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that in general, the hybrid or the hosted model more mirrors the topology for the Android and iOS hybrid apps today. Well, the in-app would be still the replacement for the current MPOS solution, where all of the source is included in the app itself. So I wouldn't draw the exact lines between in-app is only for offline. I think in-app is also a valuable solution for online MPOS scenarios as well.
Yeah. So if you want to do only online, still you can use the in-app mode. You don't have to install offline yet.
Right.
So it's similar to the same MPOS which supports online and offline. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's see. Let's see if there's any other top of mind questions here that we can pull. So I think here's a good one is, has there been any testing of the store commerce app with Windows 11?
Yeah, so like even, look, did we do any full testing? But at least we did testing with Windows 11. Even I'm using Windows 11 desktop, and most of the testing I did is using Windows 11. So it definitely works with Windows 11. Yeah. So what else? Our internal test environments we use, it's Windows 11 or?
We've tested it both on Windows 10 and Windows 11, and knowing basically the underlying technology now that we've moved away from UWP, there really shouldn't be as much of an impact between the operating systems as we had before, given that the prerequisites for store commerce are kind of need to be installed separately with the Edge WebView 2 runtime. So yes, we've tested it with both Windows 10 and 11, and both are supported.
Thanks. Okay. Again, I think another question I saw, like the CPOS will be still continue to be supported in the browser. So if you want to use CPOS, you can continue to use it. But only thing is like the old SDK will be deprecated. So you have to like migrate to the new commerce SDK. Let's see if there is any other questions.
Yes. So there's one other one that I just published into the chat, and I can take this one is the GitHub repo for extensions for store commerce available yet? And the answer there is yes. Starting in the release 935 branch for the in-store repo, there's a sample for store commerce. And then we are working on publishing the document for how to debug and develop using store commerce with Visual Studio Code, and that should be available hopefully later today. But yes, there's samples there within the in-store repo, and I'll go ahead and link that in the chat as well. Money, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
No, okay, good. So there is a question like if we are using Android or the iOS app, how does that work with the commerce app? So to answer that, with this very similar experience. In the older version, you would have taken it from the SDK and then generated the iOS or Android package. Now with the new store commerce app, it will be available as in the store for you to download and use it. Okay, you don't have to like generate your own package, and the experience will be the same. It will going to ask for you the CPOS URL, like basically the hybrid app. But only one other additional benefit, as I said, now it's going to support the network hardware. Previously the iOS didn't support it. Now the new version will support it. But this will be like a new app. So basically you have to install the new app from the store to your device, and then you should be able to start using it. And that was another thing I saw this question was like, can we switch the register from hybrid to in-app or the other way around? Yes, you'll be able to change it, but basically you have to like uninstall and install it, because the reason is like when you do only the online, the offline components or the database components will not be deployed. So you have to like uninstall and install it. Yeah. To switch in dev is fine. And I don't think in production you will often switch between online. I hope you'll have like different registers. So, but definitely in dev scenarios, you can uninstall and install the different versions.
Perfect. One other question was, we have already migrated from the retail SDK to the commerce SDK. Do we still need to migrate the SDK further to support store commerce with all my extensions? So basically, if you've already migrated from the retail SDK to the commerce SDK, the bulk of the hard work is done. So from there, all that is required to enable store commerce extensions is to create one more project to generate the store commerce installer. And we have that sample in the in-store repo on GitHub. So that should be doable in less than a day, probably in less than an hour. So it's a very minimal amount of work compared to the migration to the Commerce SDK.
Yeah, almost your 99% of work is done. Just you need to generate the new installer for store commerce. It's just like consuming for the installer project, you just need to add your project as a reference. That's it. Yeah. Okay. I think there was one other interesting question, like, will I be able to do extension on iOS and Android app? So from the extensibility point, if it's any client extension, so you modified the point of sale to add like custom view, custom columns, whatever. So all those extensions will be supported in iOS and Android because those extensions will be deployed to your CPOS and CSU. So all the client extension will work. So there should not be any issue. But if you have some hardware customization, this will be supported in the upcoming versions. So if you want to like integrate with the new hardware or something, it will be supported the upcoming version. But all your client extension, you should be able to deploy to CSU and use it in the iOS and Android app.
Okay. One more question, Mugunthan, is if we use Store Commerce app using the hosted or CPOS version to get the auto update, will it support offline?
So firstly, the question is like, how will we get updates for the offline?
The question is, I think, more, can we use the hosted topology for Store Commerce with offline?
Yes, yeah. So the hosted, the in-app or the hosted supports offline. Yeah. And to take the upgrade, say for example, if the next version is available, you can just take the installer and run it. Yeah. The hosted version definitely supports updates with offline. Yeah. Is that answered the question? Or...
Yeah, I think so. For the in-app version, it supports offline, right? And then for the hybrid app version that's rendering Cloud POS in a web view, that version does not currently support offline, since we'll need to have a connection to CSU to load the Cloud POS content.
Yeah. There's another question. If customer upgraded to 1026 with the existing MPOS not installed Store Commerce, is this okay? Yes, it's fine. They can upgrade to 1026 and use MPOS till we deprecate it, but definitely we recommend to migrate to the new Store Commerce, but it is supported, yeah.
Okay. One more question is, can we deploy the in-app version of Store Commerce without offline support? And the answer there is absolutely. That's a very common scenario, and it's definitely one that we would recommend. So in-app is definitely supported without offline. Offline is really just an additional capability that can be configured for the in-app version.
Yeah. There is one more mode, but we don't want to confuse it. Within the in-app also you can do remote. Yeah. Maybe later once you read the parameters from the dock side, you will see like that mode also, yeah. In that case, there is no like big difference. Yeah. So it's better to go with that hybrid. Yeah. There was one more question. Should we continue to use retail SDK till MPOS supports October 2023? I would recommend like soon migrating to the new SDK, unless even though if you use MPOS, because we are not actively supporting the old SDK will be deprecated, I think by April 2023. Only the MPOS is going to be till October. The SDK will be deprecated, but we'll still continue to ship the SDK because that's how you can get the new MPOS and extension. But we strongly recommend like move to the new Commerce SDK because the new Commerce SDK, as I said, like supports the independent installers, the extension, even for the old sealed MPOS. Yeah. And also like all the package references available in NuGet, because to update the old SDK, you have to go to LCS, deploy it. It's going to take a few hours and you have to repeat that every month. But with the new Commerce SDK, everything is like available as like a NuGet package and you can download and use it. And also in the future, when you migrate to the new Store Commerce app, it will be like much more simple experience here. So just to clarify on the timeline, MPOS will be still available October 2023. The SDK we are planning to deprecate April of next year. There is one more question. So if I install the Store Commerce app that supports offline mode, does it install SQL or SQL need to be installed separately? So the SQL need to be installed separately before installing the app, because the installer only deploy the database scripts or the tables and other required thing for the sync. Okay, so you have to install SQL separately. SQL is not packaged part of the installer, so you have to use SQL Express or whatever the supported version of SQL, you have to install it separately. So there is one more question. Is there any option to install store commerce similar to current MPOS rather using the PowerShell script? Yeah, I think the current new installers doesn't support any UI or GUI, for example, like the MPOS where you can double click and run it. So this has to be run only using the command prompt of the PowerShell, because we streamline this experience. I think the older MPOS supports in headless way also, but since most of the installers are like deployed through mass deployment or like by the IT team, so we thought like shipping it through as like the command prompt mode of the PowerShell provide much more better experience than the UI. So you can like even from your remote location, you can call the run any the EXEs, the installer EXEs with the right set of parameter. So unfortunately, it will not have like any UI similar to the old modern point of sale installer. Okay. Look, any other questions?
Yeah, so there's one. Does the Store Commerce app require Microsoft Store to be enabled on the machine? Will it work on long-term service branch for Windows?
Yeah. After go ahead. Okay.
So Store Commerce app does not require the Microsoft Store to be enabled on the machine, so it will work on all versions of Windows. I think there's a little bit of misconception here because we released the preview version of Store Commerce app through the Microsoft Store. However, based on the feedback that we got and some of the technology limitations of the Microsoft Store today, we've moved away from that approach to use the standard sealed installer framework approach downloaded from LCS. So the Microsoft Store, I guess, is not required to install Store Commerce, and actually we're working to pull the preview version of Store Commerce out of the Microsoft Store. So for now, LCS will be this single source for Store Commerce installers.
Okay. There's one more question. For the existing customers to use the new app, we need to uninstall the current and install the new version. Yes. So you need to like uninstall the MPOS and then install the new Store Commerce app. So in place upgrade is not supported. So, but after once you install the new version of the Store Commerce app, then the subsequent updates can be just like you can run the installer again. You don't need to have to uninstall or activate it again. As I showed in the migration slide, just for the first time, you have to like uninstall the old one and then install the new Store Commerce app and activate it. Yeah, it's like a one-time effort for the activation, and then further the next update you can continue like again take the latest version and run, and you don't have to do uninstall. Okay. And there are few questions related to I'm getting error while provisioning the URL in CPOS. Maybe for this one, maybe like file a support tickets or like email us separately. We can hook you to the support team and help this get resolved.
Sure. One last question, Mugunthan, if you can take this one, is there one installer for the hybrid app version of Store Commerce and for the in-app version? Is it just a different parameter used during installation?
Yeah, that's correct. There's only one Store Commerce installer, and you can control the different in-app or the hybrid using different parameters. Yes, because we want to simplify. We don't want to provide like multiple installer. So it will be one installer. You can control the options using the parameters. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think the remaining questions we will answer it offline, but we will work with Peggy and team to like respond to all the other questions, and then when we post the video, we'll publish the PDF. Yeah. Please reach out to us if you're like planning to upgrade, and if you have any questions with the Store Commerce app, definitely we can happy to help. But thanks again all for taking the time and attending the sessions. Back to you, Peggy.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Great presentation today. Lots of questions. If the attendees could have a look in the live event Q&A, I've posted a link to a short survey. These guys would love your feedback on today's event. So please do take a moment to fill that out and let us know what you might like to see in future events. So as a reminder, the recording of today's session will be available on the TechTalk Community Dynamics page within 5 business days. All registrants will receive a notification as soon as that's available. So a big thank you to our presenters and our audience for joining. Have a great day or evening wherever you are.